What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I've got a little bit of Alliance War gameplay for you today. This was the most recent Alliance War that we ran against Legends of Asgard GSR. Shout out to anybody in GSR watching this. You guys were a good fight, good group of players. But I was actually really excited about this one because I was going to bring in, and I did bring in, my 5-star Magik, and the plan was to have her be able to power lock the Magik that inevitably I'm going to run into, which I've got gameplay of that, and as you'll see, it didn't exactly work out as planned, but I'm getting ahead of myself. This is the first fight. I always run this path off to the right. Generally, I find that this is either I get a lot of Ultrons here, I get a lot of Electros here, so I brought in Daredevil thinking I would be safe with either one of those, and it ended up being Juggernaut, which I just get sloppy. You'll see. I had this fight well in hand, and I just wasn't paying attention. I did not realize, and you may have picked up on it already, that this character is running Mystic Dispersion. That ends up biting me in the very end, but you'll see that coming up here. Best thing with Juggs is just, especially if you can block him, just stay out of the way of his specials and just stun him as often as you can. He's really a fairly easy character as long as you can stay out of the corner, which it's a lot easier said than done as I get smacked into a corner here. So I get a little bit over aggressive. I go for the block again. I should have just gone back and baited out that S2. So here I am attempting to bait out the S2, not realizing again that he is running Mystic Dispersion. Had I realized that, I would have attacked him there, hit my S2, probably would have stunned him and would have been able to finish him. So I know coming out of this right here, I'm going to be in dire straits. So I get my third special there, and I do not realize that I'm power drained. I'm right here, I am just smashing the special button, and I still didn't realize it at this point. I'm hitting it and trying to block at the same time. It wasn't until I went back and watched this clip again that I realized that my power had totally been drained. I thought I was missing the special button, but just an unfortunate death. It really didn't need to happen, and that was that was a poor evade right there. So I bring back in Doctor Strange, take way too much damage, but I do finish him off. From there, I always head up and go to the bleed node, which 9 times out of 10 it is almost always Electro, which I figured it would be, which is why I brought in Doctor Strange. I hate fighting Electro on the bleed nodes without a bleed immune character. The best thing you can do with Electro is just to be patient with Doctor Strange and only use your specials. But when you are bleeding so much like this, you feel, at least I feel, panicky, and I end up being over aggressive. But here, thankfully, yeah, that S2 did. I wasn't really paying attention there, but I think at least 10,000, maybe a little bit more in damage, which was great. I needed that. At this point, I don't have any more energy, so I step back for an hour or two, come back in. My teammate has already run the next 2 nodes, which is fantastic. I didn't have my Daredevil there for the unblockable S2, which did end up being Doctor Strange. So I go in with my Doctor Strange here against SpiderMan, who I, to this day, am terrible at fighting. I attempt to just use specials here, which that was a bad example right there, but I think I get maybe 2 or 3 successful S1s off here. And there's one, here comes another. At this point, I'm just really trying to pull him, push him, I should say, into his S2. Those are a whole lot easier to evade and stop taking that damage. That was a little risky right there, going for the S2, but it paid off. As you can see, you just take so much damage even when you're blocking. I don't think I took a single hit there, and he took me from half health down to almost nothing there. So I've got the energy. I come over. This is always a Cyclops. People just love running Cyclops on here, which his beam right there is really not that difficult, to evade. If you have any experience at all in Alliance Quest, then you probably run into that all the time, and I can do a fairly good job of evading that. The biggest thing here is just the thorns. The thorns are the reason why I'm using a lot of S1s, just using S1s and S2s, which I pushed my S2 a little bit too soon there. I thought I was going to get at least 2 of those hits with my Fury buff up, but that's okay. I'm looking to get a little bit of my health back here, which, if I remember right, I think, yeah, the game freezes momentarily here and pops back in. You missed a few hits, but not a whole lot. This is perfect right here. You really want to get that S2 off with your Fury. I've got 3 armor breaks up. Pretty sure I decided to just go ahead and finish him. Yeah, there it goes. I couldn't remember if I got my S2 in time or not. Just like that. Just got to be patient with him. That's the only thing I can say. So this next fight, I was really curious and excited about. This is the power gain node that always has a Magik on it, and this is the first time that I have brought my Magik in to play. And the thought behind that is, if you watched my how to limbo video dealing with Magik, she's actually a really good counter for herself if you can get to your S2, because it just constantly power locks her. But the problem that you see here that I did not take into account is that with her power gain, you cannot hit her a whole lot. You can't be very aggressive, so your power bar cannot really get to you can't really get to your S2 to power lock her before the power drain just sucks you dry there. It's happened once already. I'm trying right here to push her as best I can to get my power bar to to my S2, but again, nothing. And it's at this point I realize that it's just a failed strategy. That's really all there is to it. With the power gain, with the Mystic Dispersion, you just cannot hit her enough with the limited amount of time, in order to get to your S2. But thankfully, I don't really take any hits. In fact, I don't think I take any at all, outside of just limbo damage, which thankfully a couple times I popped my limbo while she's doing hers, so I've been able to negate a little bit of that damage. But I don't think I actually ever get a special off. She's just such a pain on this power gain node. I don't know, it's just annoying. I was really hoping that this was going to be a solution, but it turns out it's not at all. I mean, I made it through the fight, but wasn't how I pictured it. Yeah, 65 hits to take her down. And at this point, my teammates have cleared the middle here, which is nice. And I went all the way to the top, thinking that we would be able to get some fights in showing that. But basically what happened is it came down to exploration, which we did end up winning. We never got the nodes down in order for me to take on Spidey. The war was close enough that I didn't want to risk going in and fighting him even with nodes up, because I didn't want to give him any kills. As you can see there, Gravender was actually MVP. Shout out to him, great job. We really needed that win. I think we had lost, oh man, maybe 3 or 4, maybe even 5 in a row. I know that's really embarrassing, but yeah, we were well over 2,000. I think 2,100 in our Alliance War rating, just like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Which we've had some people in and out of the Alliance, so things have kind of been up in the air a little bit. But good to get the win here. Got enough shards to get a 4-star, which I'll get that crystal opening tomorrow for you guys up on the channel. Anyway, hope this was enjoyable to you. If you have any questions, as always, hit me up in the comments. Till the next video. Later.